Good afternoon, class. We're going to do the last section in chapter 10. We're still dealing with percents, but in this case, we're going to be dealing with change expressed as a percent. So the first thing we're going to do is define what it means to be a change. So when a quantity increases or decreases, it undergoes a change. So if the temperature of a room changes from 78 degrees to 75 degrees, that change is considered a decrease of 3. And you just get the amount by subtracting these two. If the temperature of the room changes from 65 to 69 degrees, that would be a change, which is an increase of 4 degrees. Again, we would just subtract these two to get the amount. But since it went up, we would consider it an increase. You can find the percent of change when you know the original amount and how much it has changed by. If the new amount is greater than the original amount, then the percent change is considered a percent increase. Obviously, if it is less than the original, then it is going to be considered a decrease. So here's a formula that we can use for finding percent of change. It's nothing more than a ratio. As you can see, there's a common thread in this chapter. We're dealing with fractions. And that ratio can be set up by first finding the amount of increase or decrease. So we have to figure out the change first, and then we divide by the original amount, and then multiply by 100 to get it into a percent. So you multiply by 100 to get it into a percent. So moving to an example here, the average monthly precipitation for Chicago, Illinois peaks in June at 4.1 inches. The average precipitation in December is 2.8 inches. We want to figure out what that percent of decrease is. It went from 4.1 down to 2.8 from June to December. So first thing we're going to do is we're just going to figure out what the change is. So we're going to take the 4.1 and subtract the 2.8. That's going to get us how much it changes by. And we get 1.3. So it went through a 1.3 inch change. Okay, and actually a decrease change. We know that it was going down, and we can see that. To figure out the percentage, we have to divide by the original. So we're going to take 1.3, that amount that it changed, and divide by the 4.1 that it was in June. 4.1 is what it started at. That was the original amount. So 1.3 divided by 4.1 is going to give us 0.317 approximately. Multiplied by 100 gives us a 31.7% decrease. So that's how we figure out percent of change. Subtract them and then divide by the original and get your answer. Here's another example. We're going to be doing an increase here. We're going from in 1 year, the toll for passenger cars to use a tunnel, it went from $3 to $3.50. So we're first going to subtract these two. So I'll take the 350 minus the 3 to get a 50% increase. So we know it's gone up by that. But to figure out what that percentage was, we have to divide by the original amount. 3 is the original amount. So we're going to take 0.5 divided by 3, and we're going to get 0.16 repeating. So we're going to round that to 0.17 multiplied by 100 gives us a 17% increase. So we're going to be dealing with increases and decreases in your assignment in class tomorrow. Let's do one more example. Here we're going to figure out the percent of error. Quite often when things are measured, there's an error in that measurement, and we can figure out what that percentage is based on the change. So we think that the distance between your house and a friend's house is 5.5 miles. The actual distance when measured was 4.75. So we can figure out the difference, or how much it was off by subtracting the two. So if we take 5.5 minus 4.75, we're going to get 0.75 miles. So we know it was off by 0.75. And then we're going to divide by the actual distance. So the actual distance would be considered the original distance. So we're going to take 0.75 and divide by 4.75 to get 0.1578, which we could round to about 0.16 multiplied by 100, and this is a 16% error. So that's the last example we're going to do for Chapter 2. Answer the questions after the video and then come to class with any questions that you may have.